Security Police and Fire Professionals of America, the largest and oldest security police union in the world. This international union has a rich history.
SPFPA was initially founded in 1948 as the United Plant Guard Workers of America.
A great deal of, if not the majority of work done by members at that time was in auto plants. In fact, to a large degree, this union's DNA is also the UAW's.
In the late 1930s, many plant guard workers organized themselves under the UAW. But in June of 1947, the Taft-Hartley Act was passed by Congress.
Taft-Hartley was an anti-union decree because at that time, which was right after World War II, there was a lot of pent-up frustration.
The NLRA was amended to basically require guard unions to be distinct from all other non-guard unions.
People had taken a no-strike pledge and everything else during the war, and so there's all this pent-up stuff going on after. And so Taft-Hartley is a reaction to that.
Under the Taft-Hartley law passed by Congress in 1947, plant guards were to be cast adrift. They could be members only of a union composed of plant protection employees. And the sad fact was, there was no such union.
The parent, essentially, of what turned out to be the UPGWA was Local 114, with a person named James C. McGahey as president.
In November of 1947, UAW Local 114 President McGahey addressed the crisis at the UAW convention in Atlantic City.
Jim McGahey outlined his hopes and plans for a guard union. Thus, a union was born.
I'm glad we've got the Plant Guard Union. It's the best of all the unions, here to stay, here to stay, here to stay, Union man. I'm proud
The union was tested quickly. Briggs Manufacturing, a principal supplier of Chrysler, refused to recognize or bargain with the UPGWA. The union was forced to call a strike.
At first, Briggs didn't want to deal with the plant guard workers or negotiate, but they were forced to.
The effects of the strike were quickly felt throughout Detroit. UAW production workers stood in solidarity with the UPGWA. Chrysler and Packard plants were forced to stop production as they ran out of bodies. By the end of the first week of the strike, 200,000 workers were off the job. After 16 days, on September 25, 1948, Briggs agreed to elements of the contract if picketing ended. The UPGWA had proven itself as a legitimate labor organization.
The leaders of our union are
The 1950s was a time of great growth for the union.
They rapidly expanded their membership throughout the United States and eventually into Canada, as well as Puerto Rico.
In the 1960s, the UPGWA made great progress in terms of political action.
McGahey was a skilled politician, if nothing else, and obviously somebody who stayed in office that long had to be, but he was also persuasive with national politics.
On January 27, 1964, McGahey testified in Washington, D.C. before members of a special subcommittee on labor. He pointed out that the policies of government agencies, such as the Defense Department and NASA, were depressing the wages of security officers throughout the nation. Over the next year, the UPGWA and its attorneys, including Gordon Gregory, worked tirelessly to pass the Service Contract Act, which would require the security guards at government installations to be paid the prevailing wage of commercial guards in the area.
I can recall going to Washington numerous times with President McGahey to meet with officials in the AFL-CIO as well as members of the legislature to get the act passed.
The UPGWA was also instrumental in amending the act. The successor doctrine specified that when one service type company took over another, they had to recognize the wages and benefits that prevailed before the takeover.
It was my privilege to develop and guide that case through all its stages and to argue the case before the court. That case remains in force today and has benefited the entire labor movement.
In 2000, under the leadership of International President David L. Hickey, the UPGWA changed its name to Security, Police, and Fire Professionals of America.
The union began to represent a lot of other groups of people, hence the name change. They had to change the name to reflect the change in membership.
Today, SPFPA continues to fight for the improvement of wages, benefits, and working conditions of security professionals everywhere.
Unions like SPFPA work to protect workers' rights, which is the only thing we have. As an individual, it doesn't help very much because you get fired and somebody else takes your place. But with the union, 1,000 people withholding their labor, it makes a big impact. It makes a difference.